Willow Glen Village, a small village nestled beside the gentle Thuban River, was where Thang was born and raised. Every rainy season, the river would overflow, bringing both fertile silt and worries to the poor thatched roofs. Thang's house stood at the end of the village, roofed with dry straw, and every time heavy rain poured down, it leaked from every corner. His father passed away when Thang was just 10 years old. His mother alone carried the burden of raising 3 children by selling vegetables at the market. Though she had little education, she always reminded her children, "Be a decent person. Only those with a kind heart can endure long in this life." Even as a child, Thang was thoughtful. He gave up his portion of rice for his younger siblings and went to gather leftover vegetables in the fields to help his mother sell. The neighbors cared for him, but often said, "Thang is too gentle, too naive. If he goes to the city with that attitude, life will crush him." Thang only smiled. In his heart, life was fair, be good, and the heavens would bless you. He didn't want to live in poverty forever. He dreamed of opening a machine repair workshop, doing what he loved while providing jobs for the poor. After completing vocational school in electrical mechanics, Thang packed his bags and headed for the city with the little money his mother had saved. Inside his old backpack were clothes, a few repair tools, a small photo of his mother, and his faith in the goodness of people. But the city was nothing like home. Brightford City greeted Thang with scorching sunlight and endless rainy nights. He rented a small room in a poor alleyway and began taking repair jobs from nearby small workshops. He worked thoroughly, cleaned everything carefully, and stayed honest, and gradually, people started calling him Honest Thang. One day, a man named Dung, the owner of a wood workshop, came by to get his saw machine fixed. Impressed by Thang's skill and sincerity, Dung struck up a conversation. They connected instantly. Dung shared that he, too, had once been poor and had started his business from nothing. He proposed going into business together. "I'll handle the paperwork and sales, you take care of the technical stuff." Thang, "If we don't rise now, we'll miss our chance." At first, Thang hesitated, but Dung spoke with reason, even introduced him to several partners, and promised a wave of upcoming contracts. After a few weeks of consideration, Thang decided to invest all his savings and even borrowed money from friends, handing it over to Dung to prepare the premises and equipment. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Dung disappeared. His phone couldn't be reached. The workshop address turned out to be an empty house. None of the partners they met were real. It was all a scam. Thang didn't just lose his money, he was now in debt. Lenders started calling in what he owed. His landlord demanded immediate rent. The temporary workshop space was taken back due to unpaid fees. Alone in the damp little room, Thang held a wooden box with his mother's photo. Rain poured down like there had never been a sunny day. "Was I wrong, Mom? I always believed that if I lived kindly, life would be kind in return. But here, no one believes in people who live honestly anymore." Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Thang thought it was the landlord. But no, standing in front of him was a young woman with neatly tied black hair, a simple shirt, bright eyes, and a voice that was both polite and firm. "Are you Thang? People in the alley say you're good at fixing machines. The coffee shop across the street has a broken grinder, and our usual repairman hasn't shown up. Can you help?" Thang hesitated. His eyes were still red, his mind in turmoil, and the label "too trusting" still felt like a fresh wound. I'm not sure I can fix it right now. That's okay. Just come take a look. Whether it works or not, I'll still pay you." The words weren't pushy, but there was something in the way she looked at him, something that made Thang nod. He grabbed his toolbox, the only thing that had remained intact after everything, and quietly followed her. The cafe was small, tucked by the roadside, with a simple name, Vi, meaning taste. The grinder's motor was jammed. Thang carefully took the machine apart, cleaned out years of built-up dust, replaced the worn-out bearing, and put everything back together. It ran as smoothly as if it were brand new. The young woman, her name was Vi, watched him in silence, not out of surprise, but as if she saw something deeper than just skill. She saw it in his way of working, patient, meticulous, without a single complaint. Vi handed him the payment. Thang shook his head. I just wanted to help. No need to pay me? Vi wasn't pleased. Do you think I asked for your help to take advantage of your kindness? Everyone who works deserves to be recognized. Next time, don't refuse. Next time. Thang hadn't thought about that. But indeed, next time came. A few days later, Vi returned this time with a cup of hot coffee and a sandwich. Consider it my way of repaying your kindness with breakfast. They sat on the steps of the boarding house, under the clear morning sky after a rainstorm. Vi shared her story. She once studied business management and opened a cafe in partnership with her best friend, but was betrayed and lost everything, even had to use her late mother's house to cover the debt. She started again from scratch, waiting tables, then working her way up to manager. The cafe, Vi Taste, became the place where she placed her hope that sincerity still had a place, even if just a small corner in this vast city. Thang listened, recognizing himself in her story. Not just the part about being tricked, but the loneliness that came after the doubt, not only in others, but in oneself. They didn't dwell on their failures, but talked about the trust they had once lost and the reasons they still held on to a piece of it. Vi smiled. If you want to start over, I can help. Not by investing money, but by sharing. Experience, contacts, planning. All I ask is, don't give up on yourself. They restarted from a small space, rented in an old factory block. The workshop was tiny, just enough for one workbench, a few storage shelves, and a small tea corner. Thang began taking in old machines, water pumps, lawn mowers, grinders, even sewing machines from housewives. Most customers were poor and couldn't afford new ones. He repaired thoroughly, explained clearly, and never invented problems to charge more. Vi took care of pricing and planned a parts recycling system, gathering still usable components from broken machines, sorting them, and reselling at prices lower than market value. They created a model: repair, recycle, share. People who came in for repairs received honest advice. Those who needed cheap parts got support. And unemployed folks were welcomed as apprentices free of charge. At first, there were countless difficulties: rent, utility bills, leftover parts, and customer skepticism. But each week, more people came back. More word-of-mouth referrals spread. One elderly woman brought in her sewing machine for the third time. She held Thang's hand and said, "This isn't the cheapest place to fix things, but it's the most decent. In Saigon, it's rare to find a place like this." To Thang, those words felt like a scar being healed. 3 months later, they opened a small vocational corner for unemployed youth from an industrial zone that had been cleared. Vi took the lead in teaching how to prepare documents for small businesses, while Thang taught how to hold a screwdriver, how to identify power wires, how to listen to what the machine is trying to say. Once, Thang joked, "Back then, I thought I was fixing machines. Now I realize I have been patching up trust." Vi smiled without replying, quietly pouring him another cup of tea. One late afternoon, after a long workday, Vi and Thang sat side by side in their small workshop, now with a wooden sign hanging above. Regeneration Workshop, repairing machines, rebuilding lives. 3 months later, they opened a small vocational corner for unemployed youth from an industrial zone that had been cleared. Vi took the lead in teaching how to prepare documents for small businesses, while Thang taught how to hold a screwdriver, how to identify power wires, how to listen to what the machine is trying to say. Once, Thang joked, "Back then, I thought I was fixing machines. Now I realize I have been patching up trust. Vi smiled without replying, quietly pouring him another cup of tea. One late afternoon, after a long workday, Vi and Thang sat side by side in their small workshop, now with a wooden sign hanging above. Regeneration Workshop, repairing machines, rebuilding lives. Vi leaned on his shoulder. You once lost everything, and all you had left was your kindness. But thankfully, you never let go of it. If you had, I would have never met you. Thang didn't answer. He simply held her hand like a thank you, like an unspoken truth. The human heart, if not abandoned, will always be seen by someone.